1349. It's one of the most haunted places in Dayton, Ohio. Go to my dog. Nendo. Dog. Look at your face. It's just in case it gets muddy. And it is very, very haunted. And my car does not really like how haunted it is. It is telling me that it needs to have a break and telling me I need to back out of here and go somewhere else. But I need to visit this place because it is the long lost, how we say, burial site of a very, very dear person on this planet. And a lot of people do not know where his burial place is, but he built a very, very, very beautiful place for his staff to occupy and build more interesting architecture for the world. And they do a great, very many things here. But very few of them do not know how important it is to pay the person who they get the ideas from, because they have forgot to pay me. And let's say my name is Sarah Ariana Saudry Lambani. And let's see, it's very haunted, but a lot of people don't know how it's haunted by, because it's haunted by demons. And there's a great many reasons to look at trees, because the tree can tell you a great many things about the kind of creatures and demons that live here. Because this one is healthy, but it is new and it is young, and it was planted maybe only like 10 years ago, right? So there is something going on, because this tree does not want to grow taller, okay? Because it has heard a great many things about what has happened at this place. And this tree knows a great many things. And it is telling me to go away, because it knows the secrets that hide here. And a lot of people do not want me to come and record. But I'm telling them right here and now that I'm not afraid. And there's no reason you shouldn't have any trees in your bark anymore, because you have been screaming a very long time, and we hear you. We hear you, because that American flag there has been cursed a great deal many times, and has not been very, as you say, friendly towards people like honored people. So it's a very many things that go wrong here. And that bull over there actually has a very deep meaning, but I will let you guys figure that one out on your own. But I will show you a very important space. That space is reserved for Sarah Ariana Saudry Lambani, but they never invited me, or I just never got the memo or something, because I quite literally live down the road, and they steal a great deal many ideas from me. Isn't that right, Lando? Yes, he knows. So a great deal many things have gone wrong here, especially in this area. Let's say the prairie wildfires. Did I say wildfires or wildflowers? Oops, my mistake. So these trees, they have a relevance. Okay, Frank Lloyd Wright put them in himself. He wanted to make a very secure area for his projects, but a lot of people do not understand how important it is to listen to the burial grounds and burial rites, because I have a neighbor who doesn't belong there, and I have had to occupy and live in this house who actually belongs to Frank Lloyd Wright, and I have named it Redville Away in honor of his wife and his children, who never really got to learn a great deal many things about the world. So this is 1401 Fairground Road, and it is more haunted than the other one in a very real way. There's a mine shaft underneath it, but it's a different story for now because I have people behind me, and this one is haunted in a very real way. There was a Ku Klux Klan environmental scientist who wants to understand a great deal many things about the world, but he doesn't get to represent a very many people because a great deal many people do not understand what happened to the Ku Klux Klan, and a lot of people also would like to take a moment to recognize these many trees that are here in front of us, because the red and the orange is a warning. It's a sign from nature that tells us that the earth underneath us, or the gravity above us, is going to create a real problem or a calamity for a great many people. So I will go around the town and explain some of the worst calamities that can possibly happen on a very great amount of short time, because a lot of people are absorbing the news, and it is an unfortunate way, but a lot of people take the news and they misinterpret it or do something to make it kind of, as it were, faux pas, or not real, and an imaginary way, and it makes it very, very difficult to get the point across, because there's a great deal many warning signs that are heading, that are really showing their lights this way, because they're showing people what they should have been doing their land all along. See, there's a great deal many things that have gone wrong on this land, because a lot of people think that showing off their houses is more important than taking care of the land and taking care of the creatures and the people. And nobody knows this, but this farm here, this Gilbert's Party Barn, has a very dark secret. So I'm going to go slow, but I want you to recognize that there are people in this world that do try hard, very, very do try hard to keep it world a safer place. And some people make it worse, like that one. And some people understand and comprehend how to take care of the land, but they're not giving enough to take care of, because they were not given the portion that they should have been taken care of for a long time. And a lot of people do take care of the land, and I want a lot of people to recognize that, but do know that some people are also very as it were, like commercialistic, you know, like they want to just be like the Stepford wives, or live in their life like this one. They just want to have a big house with a great deal many things that they live out to them, but they don't actually know what to do with any of them. So they cultivate land without any real purpose, and it creates a very real disruption in the world. And lots of people want to know why Sarah Arona Sotomayor is a person that has to be called upon in very last moment to set balance to the world. And let us say that is my name, and it is not fair and it is not right, because I did not want this. I did not want this, and it is something that I have to do regardless, and lots of people do not want me to, but these trees had a purpose, a really great purpose, and a lot of people do not understand the warning signs when it comes to nature, and it is okay. A lot of people do not understand that it is not a personal thing, but I do not actually care if you pass me, not ever. But some people take it quite personally that I'm going slow, and it's really unfortunate for them, because they just don't comprehend the gravity of the situation that we're in, because this tree suffered a great deal. This is a haunted road. I'm not allowed to talk about that one yet, because it is a very, very dark secret. So this is a farm that has lost a great deal amount of product because of a blight and a plague in an unfortunate way. We've had to dry out soybean and turn it into possibly a soybean powder for a great deal many babies. So it's going to turn into a different kind of project than what we anticipated, because we ran short of a great deal amount of baby formula. So I just want you to know that it has a purpose. The blight had a purpose, but it's going to be turned into baby formula. And I need you to know there's a lot of people that have doctored baby formula around here. And it creates a huge problem for very, 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 very many people. And a lot of people do not understand when they sell their products to some companies, they doctor it and they put something in it maybe that they didn't originally intend on having. So I need a lot of people to really lean in onto this conversation, because not a lot of people know how the food doctoring is happening and how many recalls we've had to have in such a short amount of time because of how much food doctoring there's been. Okay, so I need you to really lean on this one, because there are some companies out there that are actually quite harmful and actually quite shamefully poisoning us and shamefully poisoning our babies and our children, and I'm not happy about it. So I'm very grateful for you leaning in on this, because there's a great deal many purposes for a great deal many things in this land, and I want you all to understand you all are very much appreciated because you take care of the land and you do things with it that a lot of people do not really comprehend. And it is very important that a lot of people do know that there is a real purpose for having corn in a field where there's just endless corn, because a great purpose. So great purpose. That is a great purpose. So what we're doing with our land, and unfortunately not a lot of people are going to know this, but what we're doing is we're not saving a lot of corn, because we've already got a great deal amount of corn, but what we're doing is we're drying out the corn, okay? A great deal many people do not know this, and a great deal many people do not respect this, but this place was once a really, really, really hopping place. And a lot of people really miss it, and it's unfortunate reasons why we had to close it down, because a great deal many people had to suffer at the hands and wakes of other people and Europeans dangling fruit and other ideas over us like we didn't understand. And I kept telling them that people were going to steal their ideas, and they understood it. And we figured something out a great deal a long time ago, that many people steal our ideas and take them, and they don't pay us penance, so we must find a way to receive it. And a great deal many trees are giving us a great deal many warnings, because a lot of them are more angrier than I am about the situation which many humans have found their ways to. But I want you to recognize something very important. This is a farm that conquers all fears, and this is one that has so many fears that it cannot comprehend them or begin to comprehend them, but yet alone they stand there making food and product that is so beyond incredible that it's almost hard to pass up. And a great deal many thanks to these people who are real true equestrians, because there is a farm and a city water treatment plant that does so many fucking things you don't even comprehend. And a great deal many of them don't even really know who I am, but I have to give them hints so they can figure out what it means. What it all means to have this many cornfields that really aren't that green, and it's a really damn shame, because I have to go very slow so that a lot more people can comprehend. But there's a very, very, very real problem with some of the corn that we've been growing, and so it's been kind of dammed into a dry period so that we can turn it into what we know is volume powder and make a new kind of talc powder, because the talc powder that we've had in the past is not going to be good. So there's a purpose for everything, and I'm giving you some insights so that you can find ways to deal with it. But there's also a very many food doctoring companies out there that are very, very unfortunately and incomprehensibly rude and cruel, and they do very unforgiving, cruel things to some of the food that we've had sent over here into America and to Mexico. And I'm not happy at the extent to which some people comprehend, but a lot of people comprehend. Oh, very great deal much, and it, as it were, very harmful for a great deal many people, because this is a very old town, a very, very old town. And let's say, for example, there is and this is hard to get out because you don't even really begin to comprehend the gratitude of the hauntedness of this place, because my great dear aunt died here at a place not too far coming up. She died here, and I saw her dead body, and I gave her grace when she died, because that is what I do. And a great deal many people forget that is my duty, and it's right back there, but it's very, very, very haunted. And I'm supposed to give my aunt some grace and some love while she knows that she is still here with us on this planet, because a lot of people relied on her for her insight while she was in there, even though they claimed that she had dementia and she had Alzheimer's. A great deal many people put a lot of medication in her towards the end so that she wouldn't open up and communicate about some of the things that Sarah Ariana, Audrey Lamboni, or Laura Sink, or Anne Frank, or any of the things that the whole family had come across while they were investigating out in the land. Because I had done a great many investigations throughout the world, and a lot of people do not comprehend, but Anne Frank plays a very huge part in my family, in a very real way, and a very unfortunate way. She suffered a great deal, a lot, because she was one of a kind. And let's say I'm gonna go left here, because Anne Frank, let's just say, for example, she had a very keen sense for the kind of person that might be a predator. And a lot of people really did not like that, because she was very, very outspoken. But she had to go underground and find a way to get her point across in a way that was really, really, really poignant and really deserving for her real force, because she was a very small child, but she was very, very wise. And there's a great many reasons why children are gifted wise insight, because they have a connection to a world that is very different than our own. And it's important to recognize that, because let's just say, for example, and this is a harsh one because I don't like to say it and I don't like to repeat it, so this is why I'm recording it. This tree is purple in the camera, but in real life it's got a very real red blood tone to it. And there's a reason why this camera is not picking up those cyanotypes. And it's a very unfortunate reason, because a lot of people do not understand this, but a lot of soul is being put into technology, and a lot of soul is being put into the products that we use, like our cars and our devices, our tablets, our computers. And a lot of people don't understand or comprehend the extent to which China and India especially play a role, and Indonesia, excuse me, I'm so sorry. Very many people put a lot of soul into some of the products that they make. So there's a great many reasons why Weeping Willow might make a mistake and assume that there's only one Sarah Ariana Audrey Lampani on this planet. But I need you to know that there isn't more than one than Sarah Ariana Audrey Lampani. Okay? Because there's a great many reasons I have to visit. A great deal many reasons why I have to visit. Because some of you have forgotten what it is like, and some of you have forgotten what it feels like to go outside and run around and be a part of something that is a little bit higher, let's say, than yourself. So it's a good reason to get out and to go jogging once in a while, perhaps. To get the real ones out. Because a great deal many people do not realize that it is important to go with a friend. And if a friend is not a friend, but maybe they are a comrade that is making a little bit more of a difference in somebody else's life, they'll understand in a better way that, in a real way, that a haunted solution is a better solution. Because there's a great deal many spirits out there that want a solution, but they want a real harsh, cruel solution to a real harsh, cruel world and situation that we've been given. Because a lot of people are very, very greedy. And not a lot of people understand that those greedy people have a limit to their greed. And there's a great deal situation which a great deal many of you have created. And some of you understand or comprehend, but some of you it takes way too late. Way, way too late. So you really need to start working better, because you're harming a great deal many people by being selfish in a community that really needs you. Because medication is not always the answer, do you understand? Okay, medication. Do you understand? Medication is not always the answer, because a great deal many of you are shoving medications down people's throats that they do not want in a very real way, and it's very harmful. But we have no idea. I do not care for people that shove medication down other people's throats. Okay? Yes, this one is very haunted. And he likes to play games in a really weird way. And he doesn't like to share money with his wife. And he gambles a lot, and he pays harlots to satisfy him. But she kind of likes to ignore the fact that he pays harlots to satisfy him. So the entire neighborhood is being warned about it, because I'm tired of hearing about how he wants to shove medication down my throat just because he doesn't want his silly little sick plan to be found out. So I'm kind of notifying the entire neighborhood about some of his, let's say, darker intuitions, because he's right here, and he's right here with me, and he doesn't understand that his dog is actually quite intelligent. And I love his dog quite dearly, and both of them are very smart and very intelligent, but he doesn't understand that shoving medication down people's throats is very harmful. So I really need people to understand and comprehend that, okay? as mm, Alright, let's talk about how haunted Summerbrook is. Like, you have no idea. Okay, Summerbrook, what the hell happened? Yeah, there was real something going on there, but something happened. And I paid a visit a while ago to see if there was a house available there, but something happened. And the house got torn down, like really. Like, I'm not even joking. I tried to buy a house up here a while ago. And that house got torn down, like really. It was so scary, man. And let's say this house, for example, has a really dark secret, not by the family that lives in it currently, but by a family that lives in it past. But this whole cul-de-sac, this entire cul-de-sac, every house in this cul-de-sac has, let's say, a real plumbing issue that they really need to get concerned about very soon, because there's a great let's say love for water down below behind the house, and their sewage is backing into that, and it's a little bit hard to tell them that, but they really need to find a new way to back up their sewage into the city, because backing it out into that crevice isn't going to work for long, because it's going to create like a cesspool basically, and it's going to start stinking up the entire neighborhood. It's going to be a Sasquatch. Oh my goodness, a real Sasquatch. What a crazy coincidence. Alright, let's talk about it. This is a real haunt. Okay, this is Kinsey, but I recognize it as Kenny Road Mound because something happened here a great dear long time ago. A great dear long time ago. And when I say dear, I really mean dear, because something happened here a great dear long time ago. And I'm going to get out of the car. I'm going to take Lando with me, but I'm going to put his shield harness on, which protects him. And I'm just saying that because it's just my fancy way of saying his harness, because I'm a little funny and I'm a little quirky. And I like to play fun little, as you were, like, word quirks, very much so, you know, like, it's very quirky to have a word play in a lot of things that I do, because frankly it takes a lot of memory to have this kind of tolerance for histrionics. So I'm going to get out and explain a little something about this mound that we have, because there's a great many people that don't comprehend or understand the warning signs that the earth is telling them, especially when it's right in front of them. I'm going to point to one of them out, because this tree is in grave peril, and not a lot of people know that. Alright. A great deal many cracks have been paved over and, let's say, covered up in this road, which is also kind of a sign. So let's just kind of cover all the tracks here. Okay, there's a tree house, which is important, because a lot of people don't know this, but this once was a fort, a really huge fort, a giant fort. In fact, they have a castle that was sitting upon it, but the castle got torn down. It was not far from Cincinnati, where Cincinnati is now, but let's just imagine for a second that Cincinnati was a little bit farther north than what we are now. And Cincinnati, where it is now, is not the true Cincinnati. And where we are now, is Kinsey Mound, is the true Cincinnati that not a lot of people understand. So I'm going to read this because this is Kinsey Mound, but I understand it as Kinney Mound Road. So this small earthen structure is believed to be a burial mound built by American Indians of prehistoric Adena culture who inhabited this area from about, let's get this right this time, because 500 BC to 100 AD is not correct. So let's read that first entirely and then go through it entirely. People of the Adena culture were the first in the Ohio Valley to build mounds and earthworks. The earliest form of sacred architecture in the Midwest, this mound with its surrounding circular embankment is one of the rare that remains in good condition. So that's a really interesting turn of phrase there. But let's talk about the 500 BC to 100 AD real quick, because not a lot of people understand that date is very wrong. So let's imagine for a second that AD and BC were a little bit different. And BCE is our correct terminology here, because it's more like 3000 BCE to like 900, let's say. That's a beautiful dog. That's a wolf you have there. So let's say 100 AD is not the correct terminology, but it's GHE, but GHE is different. So it's more like 3000 BCE to 950,760 gajillion GHE, which is really hard to explain and comprehend for a lot of people, because time travels very weird in very weird ways, and a lot of people remember can even comprehend what time looked like before a GHE. Because GHE stands for Great Heritage, and it's like enterprise or something. Great Heritage Interpretation but it's interpretation, but not interpretation, which is a hard thing to comprehend for a lot of people. But if you dig way deep down into the agrarian culture of not just the Adeno culture, but the Hungarian and the Yugoslavian culture, there's a great many connections between the GHE. Oh yes, and Icelandic cultures are very impacted by some of the Adena cultures, so it's hard to comprehend, like really, really hard to comprehend, because there used to be a great big castle here at one point, and let's just say, for example, it was the Van Helsing castle, and let's just say, for example, Van Helsing was here long before Christopher Columbus, because he had a great huge castle, but let's say, for example, that castle got torn down by a great huge fire that scorched it inside and out, and made it nearly impossible to rebuild from inside. So they tore it down and put it all over the world in different ways, and found ways to rebuild it back up in other ways. So it's a little bit hard to comprehend, but this mound actually means a great deal a lot, because let's just say, for example, a great white deer was buried here, and a steed that was very, very real, because deer were actually in a real way, a very real way, a way to travel for some people. So this is in a very real way, a very sacred land, because not a lot of people understand the Kinney deer was a sacred deer. A very, very sacred deer that used to walk this land and run this land. And there used to be a great deer, many deer that were ridden upon and treated like steed. And not a lot of people understand that or can comprehend that, because our our deer and our steer and our elk are not as big as they used to be, but deer and elk and steer used to be quite big. So I'm gonna let Lando lead me because he understands a little bit better. And he's got a nose that is a little bit better than mine. So he's going to lead me because this is a sacred ground. And like I said, not a lot of people understand that or can comprehend. But this deer meant a great deal to a lot of people in a way that, let's just say, is a sacrificial. He made a great sacrifice for a great deal many wars in a way that not a lot of people understand because his genes carried on. And there are ways to comprehend this, but this is where he liked to roam, but this is his real burial ground. Right here. Right where I'm standing. And it's unfortunate, but I don't want to bury him and I don't want to pick him up. But there was a tree here. A very real tree. And it's just a stump now. But it was a sacred tree. And not a lot of people understand how nature works, but when trees die and when trees start to show you their real warning signs, it becomes very apparent that something happened. So I'm coming here to pay a visit because this tree needs to know that this warning was heard a great deal many times, but I couldn't understand or comprehend what was going on because I was a child at the time. So I need you to know that there is a gift in here, a very secret gift, but I'm not allowed to find it unless it's been called upon. So I need to know that I can find it because a berry. I will take a picture because it's not mine to take. There. That berry is important and it has a lot of thorns on it. He doesn't want me to really take the gift, to understand. It's a gift that I'm not meant to take. It's a gift that I'm meant to understand and pass along. So this berry right here is a cardamom berry. And not a lot of people understand its power or understand its strength, but we don't have a great deal many left of them in the world. But it's important for our diet, even in the deer's diet. It's important for antiseptic, and important for anesthesia, and important for vaccines in a real way for deer. And there's I think you understand. Thank you. There's a real issue with kind of like mad cow disease, but it's like mad deer disease. Do you understand? And the cardamom berry is very important. It acts against it and kind of changes the metabolism and the in a very real way. It changes their chemistry and their diet and their genetics to be able to understand the world a little bit better and to be able to eat better things. But I want you to understand something also. This is not the berry. Not this one. Okay? This is a different one. This one does not have thorns on it. Okay? This is a different berry. This one is not the one, but it is actually a really good berry to eat for humans and for birds. And I need you to know that this is also a survival trait for a lot of people. So these berries are not edible by deer, okay? Not at all. Not even remotely. But humans and birds and other insects and other critters like raccoons and other bears can eat them. But we've been growing a great deal many of these berries, but not enough of the cardamom berries. So we need to start really considering the nature of our yes, you understand what I'm saying. the nature of our nature, because a lot of people are forgetting the true nature. Because this is a haunted trail, a very really, really haunted trail. And a lot of people don't understand that these berries are very unhealthy. So this is not just a spiritual guiding thing. This is more of a scientific guiding thing, because a lot of spirits are actually healthy, and they try to maintain a healthy world, but not a lot of people have been listening to the healthy world, and the world that needs the medicine, because you guys are actually really harmful to a lot of people. And this is a real sign, because these walnuts are not meant to dry out and rot like that, okay? This is a real sign, a real unfortunate sign, because these walnuts are not supposed to rot like that. Never once. They were never supposed to rot like that. But some of these trees are really showing some very unfortunate signs, and I'm very perturbed by the real situation that we've been placed in, because not a lot of people understand this. Because my mother and I have kind of had a few too many spots to begin with, and I'm not happy. And a lot of people want me to believe that I'm a monster, and I'm not. And they just want me to take a great deal amount of medication and just to be quiet. And that's not the kind of person that I am. And a lot of people are trying to make my mother into that kind of person that shoves a great deal amount of medication down my throat just to keep me quiet, and I'm not happy about it. This is also an example of the cardamom berry. And like I said, it has thorns on it. It's a little bit different, so you can poke it, and it does hurt, but we don't have a great deal many of it. And this is a real true flower that doesn't get to bloom a whole lot. It's a rose, but it's a small rose. A lot of people don't understand, but we have planted these rose flowers a long time ago for a queen. And a lot of people want to understand where that queen planted a lot of rose flowers, and for which path she planted the rose flowers on, and why she planted those rose flowers. Because not a lot of people understand or comprehend the power of the rose and for what it's there and its purpose. And I'm going to tell you that right now a great many people were buried here, but they were given a rose plant. Each one was given a rose plant. Let's say, for example, this part of this ground is an ancient burial site of King Arthur. I need you to understand something very important. King Arthur doesn't want me to find his grave, but I have to. Because a great deal many things have happened. And I need a dragon to understand something very important. The King Arthur's grave is still here, and let's just say it hasn't been tarnished. But he needs to know something important. Something terrible happened in this world. And I'm not happy about it. Not even in the slightest. So King Arthur, I'm sorry, but your blade needs to come out of its stone one way or another. And we're gonna get it out, okay? But it's going to take a lot of time, because I don't know how many people are going to understand or comprehend where this location is and how to find it. So we're going to find it, but it's going to take a longer time than I feel like I'm allowed to have in this lifetime. So I'm going to make a record of it so that you know, that I know, that we know, that you're here and I'm here, and there is a peril, a great peril among us. And your steed was, let's just say, harbored and ruined in a whole way that shouldn't have happened. So it may take a longer time than I want, but I need you to understand I'm here, and I'm trying my best to be with you at all times. At all times. But I've come to pay you a visit, just to give you a time and a little bit of an understanding about some of the things that have happened here. Because a great deal many bushes are missing. A great deal many bushes are missing. And it's a great shame, because we had great wars and great games and great perils which we escaped from great many times. A great many times. But your life came into question at one point because of a crime that you committed. And I'm not happy to explain this to a lot of people and a lot of the world, because King Arthur was a great and powerful person, a great and powerful wizard. He had a wizard, but he was a wizard. And let's say he did something terrible to confuse his wizard in court, to make him feel as though he was an unfortunately old man and was confused and contorted about his mind, and maybe perhaps a vertigo, and perhaps gave him a vial of poison that made him compile a great deal amount of information into one bottle, and one bottle alone. And that bottle got sent off across the ocean, and the ocean swallowed it whole, to a point where no one in this world knows where it is except for the people that lived aboard the Titanic after it sank. Because let's just get this right out there in the open. The Titanic is haunted as fuck. Okay, it's way haunted, and a lot of people on the Titanic know that, because they're understanding that if there's ever a human being that goes down underneath the Titanic, there's going to be a great deal many souls that come out of it. Okay, let's just be honest. So yes, the Titanic and Great Arthur had a way to communicate. But that's why time is really relevant, and King Arthur did have a wizard. That wizard was a letter writer, and that letter writer put a letter in a bottle and tried to send it across the ocean, but it didn't get across the ocean. It became swallowed by the ocean, and in a really weird circumstance. It's the exact same spot as the Titanic. So it's a very weird spot in the ocean, and not a lot of people should be venturing there unless you know exactly what you're doing and can securely and sanctuarily release the spirits without upsetting them. And it's a very hard, very difficult task. So I'm dearly sorry, Mr. King Arthur. I'm so sorry, Mr. Arthur. Because I can no longer communicate with this world in a real way that a lot of people can comprehend. So I'm here to pay you a visit to let you know about some of the issues that the human world has bestowed upon us, because a lot of them don't know that you are a wizard too. And I think they just found out, which is great, because they don't know how far back the wizard clan goes, and they don't really comprehend it. So I'm trying to let them know in a little bit of a secret. So I thank you for your presence, and I thank you for your kindness. But I'm going to do a little bit of a curtsy instead of a bow, because let's just be honest. I am your queen, and I need you to bow before me before I bow before you. Thank you. Thank you. Please, I'm sorry that I have to record this entire process. And I thank you for that. But I'm going to have to go now. Please know that I'm going to take something of small token. A warning sign. That no one ever forgot about. Except for small parts of the world. Okay, and I'm sorry for this, but let us say, for example, and I'm sorry, Lando's been shaved for a minute to kind of appear as though he looked like a hyena. Let us say, for example, there's a reason that I wanted him to look like a hyena for this, because of the great many reasons we had hyenas in the past that we carried with us as companions. And I want to show you a special flower. A little flower. This is a grace flower. Okay? It's hard to focus in this camera. Such a damn shame. There we go. It's a little better. Let's just say, for example, this flower has certain healing properties for certain animals and certain types of deer. But it's not very cultivated. Say, for example, we don't really spend a whole lot of time cultivating certain flowers with a lot of healing powers, because a lot of people in America, especially America, have forgotten a real way, a human way of connecting with the earth and cultivating flowers in a way that was harmonious. So lots of people have created a great deal many flowers which are highly unnecessary, and tried to eliminate nature's beauty and nature's original flowers, and it's a really cruel way of trying to have revenge at what they believe is God. Like, quite literally, there's quite a few people that just want to, like, ruin every one of God's plans for the world and God's plans for the future, because they just want to be gods themselves and have that kind of control in a really weird way. There's many fetishes that have been created over the many eons that actually are very destructive and harmful for a great deal many people. So, and let's say, for example, there was a giant castle here, and there is a great river and a giant moat that covered its expanse. But it's a place that I cannot go because, let's say, for example, it has some toxic fumes that come out of it from time to time, because a great deal many people pour their sewage into the grounds, and it comes out in certain ways in certain areas. So there's a few, as it were, more mutations that come out of this area in a very real way. There's a sign that says no swimming and no wading, which is an unfortunate thing, because that was a real moat at one point. And there's a sewage, let's just say there's a sewage plumbing there for evidentiary purposes. let's say, for example, this tree has a purpose, and this path has a purpose. And some people understand it, not a lot of people do. But some people say, do not split the pole. And this tree has a purpose. A real purpose. It doesn't really grow many leaves anymore, unfortunately, you can kind of see. But this is a path that a lot of people had to take in order to, as it were, conquer a fear of meeting a queen and a king that maybe did not always see eye to eye, but perhaps maybe had a true plan that they tried to conquer. And so this tree has a real purpose, because if somebody walks on one side, the other one walks on the other side, but there is a real thing that is in between the middle. A real child that was planted many eons ago, that stands between a king and a queen that was perhaps miscarried in a real way. So not a lot of people recognize this, but don't splitting the pole is actually kind of a curse, because you don't understand or comprehend what's truly between the two, and why there is perhaps a pole between the two, because the pole is a real living thing, and has a real living purpose for it. So when you say do not split the pole, what it means let's go together and walk side by side through this obstacle instead of walking around it and toting the line. And it's a really real way of communicating to people that perhaps one person is not ready to communicate with another person about a subject, because the subject is in the middle and it is tying up the communication between the king and the queen about a real miscarriage and a real struggle between what is love and what is courage and what is right and what is honor. And is a real reason for the tree that guards the pole, because that is a grandfather and a grandmother and a patriarch and a matriarch all in one. And none of them want to know or perceive or understand the fact that a child is gone. So they've created a way for a child to live on in a very real way. So this has a great deal amount of symbolism in it, but it is a very real way of communicating to somebody that you are not ready to talk about a subject. So when you say don't split the pole, it means let's talk about this and let's get over this hump and let's walk side by side on this subject, instead of walking around it and toting the line. That is the real reason behind splitting the pole, or deciding to stand side by side a person and saying, you know what, let's really stand side by side and walk in tandem and figure out if this is the real thing and this is the real courage and the real strength that comes between us. Because there is a child that died, and though there is a child that died, that doesn't separate us. So that is the hard truth of this path and this pole. So I walk side by side, but I walk side by side with a companion of mine, because frankly a great deal many of mine companions and comrades and compadres have all either deceived me or they have all abandoned me, and I'm afraid to the extent to which my family tries to consume medication in a way that they do not understand, and it is very unfortunate. But I have come here to tell you that the sumac that grows upon you is a poisonous one, and it will consume you soon and take you and help you. But it will give you no pain, okay? You will have no pain, because the sumac would take it all away for you, okay? But I will give you a hug. And although people sometimes think that sumac is poisonous to touch, I will touch it because I'm not afraid. Because it has a real purpose. And not a lot of people understand that the sumac takes away a great amount of pain, especially for trees that have heard way too much to be able to feel like they fit in this world anymore, because not a lot of people want us to fully live with the trees and with the world. And let's just say I don't want to go down there for reasons, because there's too much toxic waste that goes into that river, and I'm not happy about it. Not even remotely. And let's just say, for example, there's more trees with poison sumac on it that want to know that they're going to live on forever in a very real way, but differently. So that's why I film. Let's just say, for example, that one day there will come a time when film and, let's just say, an alternate reality might combine and perhaps find a way to really make a difference in some people's lives. Now, this path I will go down. This is part of a moat that not a lot of people got to build because of a great war that happened. So this was part of a moat that was being built. There was a huge process that was involved. And I don't necessarily want Lando to drink the water, to be honest. But he might drink it anyway because he's a good boy. Okay, many things happened to create this moat, but yeah, like I said, there was a huge fire. But let's just say there might have been a flood, but the moat didn't say this. Let's just say that, because I'm tired of explaining the entire story over and over again. But this tree has a lot of meaning, has a lot of power. It's part of a hydra, which not a lot of people understand or comprehend. The dew in it, the split trunk, actually means that it has, let's just say, roots that are so long and so wide that it's hard to comprehend, and so deep. But let's just say that this tree has some sumac on it, so it's grown to the point where it's tired of living, but the sumac is not working to the point where it wants to, because it's only wrapped around the one trunk. So let's just say, for example, one of the heads is a little bit more traumatizing than the other, so the other one deserves the pain relief and the other one doesn't. So that's kind of one of these symbiotic relationships that some people don't understand or comprehend, because trees have a very real rational thought about how to split thought and how to split humanity and how to split ideas and comprehensions. But some people don't understand that a lot of trees have multiple brains and multiple personalities. So it's kind of a weird concept to comprehend or understand, but some of these trees actually have a good side and a bad side. So, yeah, come here. And so let's say, for example, this tree was a really good tree at one point, but it turned into a bad tree because it listened to that head. The bad head, not the good head. Okay, that's why you're literally rotting from the inside out. I'm sorry to tell you this, but that's why you're rotting from the inside out. You keep listening to the wrong head, and you're wondering why that guy has got sumac on him. You're like, you got sumac on him, but you don't even comprehend the fact that he's got sumac on him, and it's for a really good reason. So some of you are actually really, really in for it. Like, I'm sorry to tell you that some of these trees are actually kind of dangerous. And yeah, it's a kind of a weird thing, because some of the trees don't understand human world, and we don't understand the tree world, vice versa. It's complicated. This is meaning, but I don't want to talk about it right now because this is a long video, and I kind of want to just go home. Oh, but wait, hold on. No, this is cool. This is really cool, because mushrooms. Da-da-da. Have a sign, have a symbol. this one's healthy and it's telling the other ones to like literally kill themselves. It's funny. It's actually kind of funny because these mushrooms are heretics and this mushroom is a genius. So it's kind of funny. But this mushroom will live on in a row, and just so you know, because I'm going to make sure. I'm going to make sure it like... Just kind of like spread its little psylliums everywhere. Come on, Bobby. I'm not saying mushrooms are ticklish or nothing, but maybe mushrooms are ticklish, okay? I'm not saying that, but maybe they are, okay? There's a chance. There's a really high chance, actually. A really high chance that mushrooms might be ticklish, okay? So I'm sorry if that's a weird thing towards the end of this video, but that's kind of the real deal right there. That's the full comprehension of it. Mushrooms might be ticklish. They might not be. There's only one way to find out. It's by scientific investigation. So maybe somebody in this world might take on that, too many damaged trees. I cannot do this, you guys. You have no idea. Like, really, this place is so sad. Okay, let's say, for example, these flowers are delicious, okay? Delicious and delectable. Perfect in salads, okay? Yeah, okay. So hopefully somebody takes on that real task, the real scientific task. I'm trying to figure out whether or not mushrooms are ticklish, okay? I hope it works out for some people, because not a lot of people have something really, let's just say, enriching and productive to do with our lives. So I'm trying to give some people to wake up and listen to some scientific theory and perhaps decide whether or not mushrooms actually have tickling factors. Okay? Because that's a real question. Let's figure that one out. Let's spend some scientific evidentiary money on figuring out whether or not mushrooms are ticklish, okay? Not gonna lie, that's a cool scientific exploration, okay? If I had that kind of money to throw around to try to decide, try to hypothesize and figure out if mushrooms are ticklish or not, boy, I would. If I had that money to throw around, I would spend it on figuring out if mushrooms were ticklish or not, okay? That is what I want to do. The end. Thank you for visiting. Come again. Oh, just look at the butt. Oh,